Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming out this evening, especially during like this dinner time hour. We're really excited that everyone came out, and we have a lot of updates to provide to you. My name is Don Burris, and I'm your Economic Development Manager here for the City of Vacaville. I'm excited about all the great work that we're doing, and again, so thankful that you all came out tonight to hear some of the updates and how we're planning to continue to improve our beautiful downtown. I'd like to introduce to you right now our Interim City Manager, Jeremy Craig, and Jeremy will share a few words with us.
Thanks, Don. We have a lot of important updates to share with you tonight, so I didn't want to take too much time, but I did want to take an opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for your participation in the city. Thank you for your interest in downtown. A lot of what we do and a lot we do going forward is a lot of the people in this room, so thank you for your time this evening. We hope to provide you a lot of great information very succinctly, so we get you home in somewhat of a decent hour, and hopefully the Giants will actually catch up while we're here, but you can see the rest of the game. But again, thank you for your interest in downtown, and we look forward to sharing a lot of good information. If you have any questions, we're always here. Don's always around, I'm always around, and I'm happy that one of my official announcements I can do this evening is introduce our new Assistant City Manager, Aaron Bush, who joined the city just a few weeks ago. Aaron comes to us from the Sacramento region, from several cities with a lot of great experience and a lot of experience in downtowns. So we're excited to have him on board, excited to have him be part of the team, and please take a moment to say hello to him when you see him this evening. Hey, thanks.
Thank you, Jeremy. Aaron, if you want to just stand up and give everyone a wave so you all know who Aaron Bush is. Yeah. First up on the agenda, I think everyone knows our favorite downtown insurance guy, Ralph Berman. Coming up, Ralph. Ralph's going to give us a quick update on the Downtown Vacaville Business Improvement District. Just everyone we know it by the DVBID, and they've been working really hard with the new strategic plan that we prepared last year and moving things forward for Downtown Vacaville.
All right, thank you, Don. I guess good evening, everybody. My name is Ralph Browen. I'm the current president of the DVBID. My other hat is Fiesta Days, so I'm kind of tired of that, but I'm getting into this one. So I just want to welcome everybody and try to give you guys an update of what we're at right now. With this new strategic plan that we got put in, it's up to date right now, is we've done a lot. There's been a lot going on. As put it out there, as you guys all know, Bob has retired, so we are looking for a new DVBID director. So, but at the same time, we have to continue on because we have to share and make those business owners, you know, happy with what we're doing downtown and bringing people downtown to make it as vibrant as we're looking at it. Lately, we've had a welcoming committee put a new brochure out that's actually been going out to all the new businesses and welcoming them to Vacaville and showing them the new brochure, which shows ways of getting help if they need help with their business and running, ways that things are going on and the events that are going on downtown. And the big thing about having things downtown, which really, I don't know, I have a big heart for Vacaville. I've raised and lived in Vacaville all my life, and that's why I'm so involved with Vacaville. So part of the things that we've been having innovative coffee meetings with business owners, and we're inviting them to come, and surprising to those things, a lot of them don't show up. So I don't know what it is that we need to do to get more business owners to come to our meetings, because we are taking time, not only to complain, but I have a full-time job, but I'm also the president, so I'm put effort on everything that I do timely. Secondly, on February the 23rd, we walked around with the strike team, which Don put together and us put together, and we walked around and talked to different business owners to see what problems are occurring downtown that we can see if there's something we can make a change to. Or again, we can only do so much without the help of the business owners and the stakeholders that own the buildings and the property. So without your contribution and following up with things, we can't do much of anything except bring people downtown. You guys engage in what we bring downtown. We had a ladies' night that brought over, I think it was, 500 women. We gave 500 bags out, and we had a captured audience. All the ladies were walking around to all the different, we had 50 participant businesses that worked with us. And that's what we have to do, to bring more people downtown, because a lot of people that came from out of town didn't even know of Downtown Vacaville, which I feel is heart of the city, which we're pretty much the thumping of the heart here downtown. But without that, again, it's business participation from all the business owners and property owners. Just like Mr. DeBartolo down here, he's been downtown for a long time and he's put his effort, he's a past president, and he sees a lot of things that need to be done, and you know, he's an advocate for me too, as Kathleen, which is a past president too, which is in the back. With her and I spent many, many hours putting the strategic plan together with a lot of other you people here too. So other things that we've done, we've worked with the city chamber, Vacaville's chamber, I don't know why I'm nervous, but the Chamber of Vacaville and with the City of Vacaville, we put together a crime prevention where we work with PD, and we've held it over at the Pastor Dean's place. He's not here tonight, but that guy's an advocate of a great committee, because he's always, if you haven't seen him, he's the guy that's been working down the alleys with his fellowship, picking up trash, cleaning up the alleys, storefronts, and things like that. And that's part of our strategic plan that we're doing to make our place a lot nicer and more vibrant. It falls along with our new mission statement, which we revised and is a strong statement, which is foster an economically vibrant downtown. And in order to accomplish that, again, I'm going to keep saying it, we need the business owners and the property owners to engage. And like I say, it put some skin in the game. Because we're going to do every effort on our part to bring people down here and continue doing the events that we're doing to make our place, Vacaville, the destination to stop and see. The other thing that we got going on is we got a big fundraiser coming up, and it's in October. So, and it's a bowl-a-thon. So I'd like to see all the business owners put a team together and we fill all those lanes over at the bowling alley. I said that's a good way of making some money for us and establish it. And I see Terry here, and Terry doesn't miss a meeting. He's here. And the other thing that's been going around is the parking. The parking committee that we've been having, there's a lot of things they're generating, which Don's going to be talking, I'm pretty sure. And we have a parking committee, which TJ's on it because he knows all the spots for the EV parking. But if I understand, there's a parking going on over there behind Pearson Flores, and where Shay's going to be putting up the branch. So that's a whole nother thing coming up there. But you know, it's funny that with everything that I'm involved with the community, as far as like Fiesta Days, we always talk about parking. And it always happens that we got 10,000 people and there's everybody somehow arrived and parked their cars somewhere, right? But I guess parking is still an issue, but to me the issue is the business owners leaving their, again, their employees park in front of their business. So there's alternatives, there's fixings, there's things that we can do as a partnership. It takes a village in order to make things happen. It doesn't take just one organization to make it happen. I know I'm leaving out some things, but I just appreciate everything that, again, my committee, my board, thank you very much for you guys' hard work. And if you guys have any questions or any kind of recommendations you guys want to put towards me, I see you guys put it into action, or maybe we could just talk just to get an idea what your complaints, or if you have any, or maybe that a boy or that a girl or anything like that helps out also. Thank you very much. Huh? Oh, do you guys have any questions? Oh, you're gonna put me right here? Oh, I forgot my vest. Okay. You guys have any questions for me? Yes, Wendy? It's going to be in October, and we'll throw emails to everybody. Oh, it's October 1st? Okay, 21st? Thank you. Okay, so we have a set date, October 21st. I must have missed that email. It was during Fiesta Days, so. What's that? 1 o'clock, yeah. Anyway, any other questions? Terry? Okay, thank you. Yes, Louis. What's that? Parking? Well, we can discuss it right now, but there is going to be.
you want the microphone?
As far as parking, everybody says, okay, we don't need it, we don't need laws, blah, 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 blah. When we have large events,
Right.
people will park everywhere. Festival, when we have our tree lighting, 8,000 people will be down here to find a place to park. But for us businesses, on a daily basis, people complain, they want to park right where they're going to, no matter which business it is, they will not walk. And of course, you know, the problem is a lot of the businesses, people that work there, they won't walk either, they park in.
Right.
So where are we as far as parking? Because one of the main things why a sidebar as to why we can't generate a large business to come in as maybe a restaurant, there's no parking. They're not going to do it without any kind of structure where they can have. We'll never draw any large type of restaurant down here without some consideration of a large parking lot. And that's something we truly need to look at. Everybody says, well, you don't make money, it costs too much, blah, blah, blah. It's twofold. Without it, we're never going to get it.
Right.
So at some point, we got to look into it.
Go ahead, I think you know a little more than I do on that parking spot you're talking about.
So, so the city actually owns some property, as Rob said, behind the floors at Alvin's. And there is a plan in our next fiscal year to improve that lot so that it actually is, I believe, a 110 space parking lot. We're also discussing about opening up the senior center, the McBride Community Center, to also allow that parking to be able to be used in the evening. So the DVID parking committee will be working with our housing department in the city to figure out what that parking is going to look like and how soon that's going to come to fruition. So we're working on it.
Is the East Main development going to include parking as well?
Yes, and we'll see that presentation at the end of this evening for the East Main District, but parking is included in that project.
Is there anyone else out there throwing anything else? No, I'm joking. It's all good. I'm open to that. Hey, you're not going to hurt my feelings, but I'm hoping with all these people in the room, we'll have an answer for you. No? I got off easy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Our next update will be from Daniel Huerta from the City of Vacaville Housing Department. Daniel's going to talk to us about the new blade sign program that we're introducing downtown. I know that many of you may remember many years ago, that we actually had a sign program then. So we've listened to your concerns. We've been told that downtown is too dark. A lot of patrons are really afraid to walk down the street at night because there's not enough light. So this new program not only will help our businesses be more visible, but actually will add a little more light to downtown Vacaville. So Daniel Huerta.
Thank you, Don. So, so this program was around in, I think, 2008. Redevelopment had funded it before, and only one sign was actually purchased through that program. But we brought it back because of the reasons that Don mentioned, lighting in the downtown area, to improve that. So I wanted to pull up the website here to just show how easy it is for applicants to get on. If you scroll down a little bit, just to show what is a blade sign. Well, I've been getting that question a lot lately. So I posted some pictures on our website, and it's a pedestrian-oriented sign, so it sticks up perpendicular to the face of the building. And this time around, we're requiring that lighting is attached to the signs. So the grant itself, there's $5,000 available per applicant, up to $5,000. And we have about $60,000 of funding. And the program is open until the funding is depleted. So if you don't mind scrolling down just a little bit, on the website we have links to the grant application. You don't have to click on it, and links to the program guidelines. I won't get into all the details of the guidelines, but it's pretty straightforward, and you can also contact me if you have any questions about the details of that. And we're really focusing on the heart of downtown. If you don't mind scrolling down to the map. So that we have 3 priority areas. The first priority area, you see Main and Merchant. That's where we're really trying to focus a lot of these signs, and also to improve the lighting along those streets. And those applications will get priority over the second and third priority areas, which are second here and third here. So that is the gist of the program. So there's probably some specific questions. I can start taking those now. Yeah.
Some of us have the understanding that the way the program works is that the business owners will pay for the sign and then be reimbursed up to $5,000. Is that correct?
That's correct. We've already had one application come in. It was about $3,000 and some change, and that included install, fabrication, and all that. It didn't include the permits, but I believe the permits it would be a standard sign permit, so it's not too expensive. So they were well under the $5,000 with that first sign, but it would be based once we receive the application, the cost estimate will hold aside that funding until you're complete with your permits and the sign is installed, and then once that is done, the invoices come to us and we do the reimbursement then.
What type of lighting are we talking about this?
Okay, so if you want to pull up, if you don't mind going up and scrolling and clicking on the guidelines, and scrolling down one page. So right here is this is a design criteria that all the signs need to follow. We work with planning in establishing this list of criteria. It's specific to the downtown, I think it's downtown guidelines. But here it describes on what type of lighting is required, which it's described as gooseneck in the code. So it'd be attached gooseneck lighting. So it'd come off the sign. It doesn't have to be gooseneck, but it has to come off the sign and be indirectly pointing to the sign, and it will also shine down onto the sidewalk to illuminate the sidewalk a little bit as well. But as far as design goes, when you go to get your tenants go get your estimates, they'll want to follow these design criteria here when they're working with the vendor. And we already have some vendors that are familiar with the program. Simico Signs and JC Graphics. I've been talking to them a lot, and they're already familiar with how the design or the whole grant program in general, so you can use them. Any other questions?
So the purpose of this program is to have more illumination downtown, so people are more likely to walk down there?
There's a lot of benefits to adding a blade sign to the front of the property. I mean, it's just aesthetics for downtown during the daytime, even as well. When you got pedestrians walking up and down the sidewalks, they'll be able to see what businesses are up ahead, 1 or 2 blocks ahead, because of the signs. And then at night, it brings liveliness and more activity, or looks as though it gives the appearance that there's a lot of activity in the downtown area. We can go, there's a lot of benefits just to having lit streets instead of, darker business fronts once the sun goes down. You can imagine.
The blade signs, you're saying that they're gotta be 8 feet tall?
So that's the minimum height from the ground is 8 feet per the building
What happens
code.
to all the awnings that are out there on the building, because they're at 8 feet, so you're not gonna be able to put a blade sign in there. And
Right.
And then some of these things, like the awning on the Opera House blocks my side when it comes out, when you're coming out, so you visually can't see it. And then my
question about the lighting on these signs. Are they gonna shine on the property next door?
That's not the intent. The intent.
But are they going to?
Are they going to? I don't think they would. I mean, if you can maybe go back to the page where we have the images of the signs. So you can see here the light attachments are here. There's one here, and it's pointed directly at the sign.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't really get it shining into.
Like some of the buildings downtown have one of the street lights, the pole, lights up the front of the building. So what would that do to that building? They put a blade sign out there with a light on. And are the blade signs that are already out there, are they going to be required to put lighting on?
No, we're not requiring anything that's existing. This is just part of the grant program.
And
but
lighting up the street, the restaurants close at 9:30. So there's not a lot of traffic after 9:30 of walking around. So they don't light up, I mean, they lit up the town square, which needed to be lit up. It looks good. But nobody's allowed to sit up there after 10 o'clock at night.
I mean, also there's the security, the sense of security that the light brings to downtown, the streets. When you do have people walking down, you know, at least it's lit somewhat compared to being, you know, dark at night. Even though there's not, businesses may not be open, it still gives visibility for the street. So that's kind of, it hits on a couple of purposes for this program and for adding the signs with the lights. And then as we get, you know, other businesses coming in and opening later, you know, we'll have more activity at night.
If you look at towns like San Luis Obispo or Bend, Oregon, where they got extraordinary downtowns, you don't know what it is, but if you think about it, what it is there's a continuity to the buildings. There's a theme that's been followed, and this provides that theme. And as far as entryways, if you've ever been downtown in San Francisco at night, each of those little alcoves that go into a building, if they're not lit, they're dangerous places. So that'll provide the lighting. It'll make it uncomfortable for people to decide to sleep there or just hang if they don't belong there.
Thank you. Yeah. Got one more question. Oh, can you scoot down to the map?
There's some colored buildings there, and it says first priority and second priority. What's that?
So the first, we prioritize the area of downtown for applicants who are in the first priority to kind of get first crack at the grant, and then we open it up to the second and third priorities. Since we're limited on funding, we want to kind of just focus in on the heart of downtown. So we've only had we've only had approval for one application so far, and we've had the grant going since I forget, I think it was October or December. So there's still a lot of availability, and as applications come in, we'll review them. But we just haven't had too many come in yet, so I wouldn't worry too much about priority areas. Any other questions?
Hi, Wendy Foster. I got a quick question on this merchant and name area there. There's a triangle in there. Do you see it? Yeah, do you see it? No, down? The big triangle.
Oh, triangle.
Yeah. There. The big one? No, the white one. The white triangle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's my building, and that's 366 Merchant Street. My front door is on Merchant Street. So I'm not in there at all. The blue part is the secondary, and then the gray is the primary. Is that it?
So you are in the second priority area.
But I'm on Merchant Street.
Right. It looks like when they did the map, we decided that there's only one side of Merchant Street that's in the first priority area. This triangle unfortunately didn't get in there.
Yeah,
But
I noticed that.
but please get your applicants in, as soon as possible.
I will, but I'm just curious. Pardon? Can I have yours tonight, please?
No other questions? All right, thank you.
Daniel. All right, thank you, Daniel. Next, we have Sergeant Dave Kellis from Vacaville PD, and Dave's going to talk with us about the new community response unit, which is about a year old now. Sergeant Dave Kellis.
So Don's correct. This community response unit has been working for the past, it's been 13 months now. And basically the task of the community response unit is to address quality of life issues for the City of Vacaville. The first 7 months of the unit consisted of me and 1 detective. Now we've doubled in size and we have 2 detectives, so we're doing a lot better. Early on in the project, our primary focus, which took up about 75% of our time, was dealing with transient issues for the city. We've had a lot of success dealing with that in the first year, and we've been able to really expand our focus onto a lot of other areas since then. Another one of the main objectives of our unit is to address issues in the downtown Vacaville area. So a lot of times, if you're in the downtown area, you'll see us walking the streets or riding motorcycles or walking through the park and just addressing issues as they come up. I'm still waiting now that Bob's retired to see the first phone call I get from him retired to say that even though he's retired, he still wants me to come downtown and check for homeless people in Town Square, because I can't see him giving it up that easily. But we do have great communication with the DVBID and city government to try to address issues as they come up in the downtown area and Andrews Park and other problem areas as they come up. Some of the other focuses of our unit is to deal with the City of Vacaville Community Safety Ordinance, which if any of you are landlords of residential properties, it comes into effect when we have problem houses that are having party houses, or we're having fights there, or things like that, where we've had a number of calls for service for the police. My unit will contact the property owner and the residents and serve them with a letter regarding the community safety ordinance, basically saying if we continue, they have a 30-day grace period, and if there continues to be problems after that, they'll start getting fined. The property owner will start getting fined for the calls for service of their residents. It's been very effective in solving problems at residences, because those property owners get the notification that they're going to start getting billed, and they address the issues at their properties. This picture has made the rounds. This is one of our success stories in dealing with the homeless. We've actually had a lot of good success connecting with the homeless, offering them services, and a lot of times connecting them with family members that maybe they've lost touch with. This is Gabriel. This is from late last year, it was in about October of last year. He was homeless in Vacaville for several years, found out that he was from Hawaii, got a hold of his family there in Hawaii, found out that they had a place for him to live, had a job for him, just didn't have a way for him to get back there. We got a grant from the Brendan Mann Foundation, so we were able to get some cash, and we were able to send him home to Hawaii. This is us in Sacramento Airport as he was about to get on the plane. I've been in contact with him since then, still working, still doing great, has a job, has a place to live, and he's off the streets. We've had that success with a number of people. I spoke to a lady last week, that we were able to reconnect with her family in Utah that was living on the streets and being arrested repeatedly for alcohol violations and lots of calls for service at the library. And we were able to get her connected with her sister and son that live in Utah, sent her back there. She's working full-time, has her own apartment, isn't on government assistance, and is doing great. She came back here and got her boyfriend, who was homeless, who's now living there and has a job there as well. So we're actually, that's just a couple of stories of success that we've had with of dealing with homeless issues in Vacaville and trying to kind of think outside the box and come up with unconventional solutions to addressing homeless issues here in Vacaville. And I think if you've lived here or worked here for a while, you've probably seen a difference. There's less homeless people out on the streets. There's no panhandlers really anymore. And it's been working in partnership with the community to try to address these issues, and we've been very successful. Moving forward, the next phase of our operation is we hope to at least double the size of our team again to 4 detectives, and we're going to start a City of Vacaville Safe Business Program that's going to be run through my unit, which is going to be similar to the Crime-Free Multi-Housing Program, but focused towards businesses to try to give education to business owners, to employees about workplace safety, about crime prevention, and just creating a safer environment for employees to work and for customers to bring their business to town. We're going to focus the program on several different subsets of businesses, including smaller kind of mom and pop businesses, larger retail chains, service industry, and large-scale manufacturing. We'll have a different program set up for each one of those business types so that we'll have an overarching program, but then sub-training for maybe the training that would go to TJ's Tavern won't apply to Best Buy. We want to have focused training and program for the smaller business that they don't need a lot of the same stuff that the large big box businesses or manufacturing businesses need. And there's no sense in making one program fit everybody. So that's what our plan is. Once we expand the team a little bit more, we'll be getting more information out to business owners when the program gets running. Is there any questions right now? Not about blade signs.
Yeah, how do I get a hold of you? I have a spot next to my building, between my building and the gas station, 425 Mercer Street, where occasionally, not every night, but occasionally I'll have homeless folks.
425 Merchant, that's right there at Merchant in Mason?
Mason, right here, the gas station, between the gas station and my property, I have the two-story gray building, PEI building. There's a spot between the trash enclosure and my building where I regularly get the matches there.
Okay, well you tell me about it right now and we'll go check it in the morning.
Well, it's not every night, but check it tonight, sure. What's your number so I can call you?
I can give you a business card. My direct number is 469-4817.
469?
4817.
4817. I won't forget it.
One more time, Dave, say the number.
469-4817.
Good evening. I'm one of the people that live work on Merchant Street.
Yes.
And I know you talk a lot about Main Street, a lot about Parker Street, everything, walk the streets. I know we're right across the police station, but that doesn't stop people from coming around and trying to wait or walk or go behind the building. We used to have a lot of homeless.
Uh-huh.
But now so far we have yelling and screaming to the neighbors. We finally got rid of them. Because some of the neighbors, we tried to put the dog back there, but the neighbors didn't allow it because they said it barked all night, so we got rid of the dog.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes they jump in the dumpster so they can't be seen.
Right.
But we throw stuff in there, and one of these days we're going to do something wrong, we're going to do something that we don't want to do to them. A lot of people have come from Elm Street to Merchant Street through that alley.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's supposed to be fire hazard or whatever for the fire department in case there's a fire, but is there any way we can do to block that off so people don't have an exit? Because I don't know, I would have to talk to Pacific Hardware and find out how Pacific Hardware feels about that. But that's an easy exit to come in and go out.
Right, I understand I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's something that has to be addressed with the city and the fire department. That's not something the police can address directly, but unfortunately, even with that alley there behind your building and in the back, there's lots of alcoves where people can hide out. We have contacted people back there, and we try to stay on top of it, and we've been pretty successful so far. There hasn't been a lot of issues back there recently. But I can't see the city allowing that alley to be blocked off anytime soon.
Okay, I appreciate it if you take that into consideration, because I think city gardener would like that very much if we have a little bit more civilians in our area.
Right.
Because for some reason, when I came to Vacaville, Vacaville was Vacaville, and downtown there's a whole area. Now it's concentrated on Main Street and Parker Street. So I think we've been neglected.
Right.
Merchant Street has been neglected.
Well, we definitely don't want to neglect you, and we definitely might, the police department as a whole and my team specifically, pay attention to your area as well. We don't define the downtown area the same way that the DVBID defines downtown Vacaville. That's a different set of parameters. We're covering the entire city of Vacaville and downtown specifically.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, I wanted to give you our address to this Lucky Shopping Center, 741 East Monmouth.
Yes.
I think 2-3 transient people, they broke some of the things on there.
Yeah, well, that's a continual issue with that shopping center. We've got a couple of people that unfortunately we can't get to completely move on. We've got a good trespass warning for a couple of them now that we can arrest for if they go on, but a lot of times they stand outside the sidewalk, and sometimes we kind of hit a brick wall with people that aren't willing to change. We offer them resources over and over again, try to get people to come out there and help them, and they go back to the same exact spot. So we only have very limited amount that we can do with people that continually to show back up and stand on city property. If they show back up on your property, we can absolutely arrest them for trespassing. But they tend to stand on the sidewalk near your property, and we have that Constitution thing we have to follow, where we can't just arrest them for being out there. And there's a couple of people that refuse any assistance that we try to give them and continue to show up back in that same area. But we'll stay on top of it, and we'll continue to address them, and we'll continue to cite them when necessary and pay attention to them.
So what should you do? Just call police if there's some...
If they're on your property and you have a trespass warning against them, call us and we'll come out and we'll deal with the trespassing part of it. Because they know that they have been given trespass warning for your property, that if they go on the property, that they can be arrested. But they tend to be now standing on the sidewalk. That's it. It was easy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. So now we have next Paul McGuire from McGuire Capital Realty Group. And Paul's going to talk with us a little bit about a new downtown loan program for the downtown property owners. So we've been told by many of the downtown property owners that they love their city of Vacaville. They know that their properties are in deferred maintenance, but unfortunately they don't have the funds to make any repairs. So Paul has very graciously agreed to create this program so that now the downtown property owners can actually invest in their own properties. And believe it or not, across the country, this is always the issue with smaller downtowns, not being able to afford to actually do the work that you need done to your building, whether it's facade improvements or actually structural improvements. So Paul McGuire.
Thank you. Aaron, welcome. I'm here to show you the proper dress code for those of us that work downtown.
You look too cute.
Thank you, honey. You might wonder, why don't you just go to a bank and get a loan? Back in Steve Capel and Sue Capel's time, those old lenders, O.B. Ladd, Walt Sunderman, they got me in a back room and they explained that all banks and lenders are stuck with a series of federal lending rules that make no sense. They can only lend on income, which is really silly because if you lose your job, you have no security for the loan. They know it's stupid. And they said, Paul, we need a bank that'll lend on equity in the property, and that's what we do. So a lot of you that own buildings downtown, you might have tried to get a commercial loan. There's 100 reasons why they'd say no. If you're retired, if you're divorced, if you have a bankruptcy, if you have multiple owners with different issues, you have 100 different reasons why they'll say no. We lend on the equity in the building. So for the building owners here, if you want to improve your building, we'll make the loan. Now what we've passed out is what our standard rates are. I'm told by my son that I can say whatever, he's taking 0.5% off the origination fee and 0.5% off the interest rate to anyone in the downtown area. And by the downtown area, Wendy, we're including you. And we're including you. We'll go down Merchant Street. It's all part of the downtown. So if you need a loan, especially you don't want to go through the commercial hassle, because it is a hassle to get a commercial loan. We're there. We do our own appraisal. We go by. We take a look at the building. Except TJ's, we have a whole problem down there. But everyone else, I think we're fine. So that's the program. Any questions? Okay, Shay has the money in her purse. She'll be handing it out as you go. Yes?
Are we waiting for those people, those owners, are we waiting for them to approach you?
Yes.
Or are you actively going out and approaching them?
No, we got plenty of projects to
There are a
lend
few
on.
that I think we need to approach.
What's that?
There are a few we need to approach.
Okay, well, if their reason for no, and it could be that they can't get a loan, that's what Don's referring to, we will be glad to meet with them and say, yeah, we can. And, yes?
Is there a way to get the word to them? Because there's several building owners that won't do anything downtown. How do you get them to know what is going on? Because we know that we're here, but there's a lot of the building owners that don't show up to anything like this, so how do they...
Good point. That's why we got Don. He's our go-to guy.
So I will ask everyone here tonight, every downtown property owner and every downtown merchant received the same letter and flyer that you all did about this meeting tonight. And this group is actually larger than the last group when we had this meeting about a year ago. We like to do this on a quarterly basis. So if you know that there are downtown property owners that aren't here tonight, please just make sure that you refer them to us so that we can put them on the list and make sure that they turn out for the next meetings. And as Paul said, I walk the street often. So I'm happy to knock on the door, happy to reach out to the merchant and property owners to learn about the program.
Okay, great. Do I dare bring up the parking thing, Louis? You know, if the city has that problem, the city likes to go through and say, we don't have any money, we don't have any money. I believe you have several lots behind us here, right? And if you don't have the money to develop them into parking lots, maybe you should speak to us. We could get you the money, put in the parking lots. Because to make the point, Louis, we spent a lot of money. The City of Vacaville spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on a parking plan. And the conclusion was, the parking's adequate for who we have downtown. And I said, that wasn't the point. The point was to change who we have downtown. To change who we have downtown, we need more parking. That's my point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Yes.
I got a solution for the parking. Let's do time sharing, have businesses open certain hours, so that it all at the same time.
Do you want to head up that program, TJ? Everyone talk to TJ about the new timeshare parking program. Thanks, everyone. Our next update is going to come from another member of the McGuire family. Shay McGuire, please. Shay is going to come up and talk with us about her new project, the branch development. So to give you a little background, last year the City of Vacaville issued, and come on up. The City of Vacaville issued an RFP, a request for proposal, for what you all know as the former Chamber of Commerce site, which sits on the corner of Dobbins and East Monte Vista. We had several proposals come in. Our team took a look at them, and we awarded the project to Shay McGuire and her partner, business partner, Edwin Legaspi. And they are going to be developing a new project downtown that is specifically about Vacaville and Vacaville merchants. To that, Shay McGuire.
Thank you, Don. Yay! So my partner, Edwin Legaspi, and I, our ideas are always, hey, we're gonna flip a property and just make it cute. And then we flip it and realize we're not making any money. And then we go to the next house, we're like, oh, we're gonna flip it and make it cute, and then we don't make any money. So we're calling this a passion project, and we're hoping we make money on this one, but our goal is always the cute factor. And if I might go into more detail of what that means, Dawn used these words and I love it. Like, we want to represent the DNA of Vacaville. You know, why do we drive to Napa to eat the chickens that are raised on Pleasance Valley Road kind of thing? So how can we represent who we are locally? And there's this awesome movement, the farm to table movement, that's kind of happening, and it's kind of the hip thing to be anyways. And hey, we're a farming town and we have farm to table options right around us, so let's bring them together. So the idea of this is to bring together socially conscious, local, organic, amazing food, and combined with retail in a 6,000 square foot building that will sit on the corner of Dobbins and Monte Vista. And we have not yet determined the name of this entity. We're calling it the branch for now. We called it the barn. We might call it the lantern, but it is still in its infancy stage. But we were granted, hey, let's move forward with this project. And so what that is helping to create ambiance in the downtown where we want to hang out. And you can sit outside and be near the creek, and you can ride your bike there so you don't have to worry about parking. All these great things. So let's get into some cute pictures. So the concept is that the 6,000 square foot building will face the park, and the side that faces the park will be glass garage roll-up doors so that they can be open. And when the weather changes, you can close them and still be inside and enjoy the ambiance through the windows. We hope to have around 5 restaurants and then fill in the rest of the square footage with retail space. Ambiance is everything for me, so you want to create a space where you want to actually hang out. So we hope that some of that retail might include like that cute new little business called Make on Dobbin Street where the kids can come in and do some art. Like, what could we have in there where somebody might linger a little bit, have a beer? You have kids that might want sushi and one might want a slice of pizza. Hey, go get what you want to eat and let's sit in the middle and hang out. So there will be covered outdoor seating as well as uncovered, and we're not calling it a playground, but there will be an area that is naturally inspired ambiance so that a kid could perhaps hang out in. On the Dobbin side, and it might not be the Dobbin side, it might be the parking lot side. Thank you, TJ, for mentioning the weather. But there will be a side of the building that will be delegated for selling local produce at any given time so that it's always there. And you just kind of know, hey, whatever's in season, I can swing by and pick up what's there. That's just a site plan that kind of shows where the building is going to sit in relation to the creek. There will be a little parking area for it, and then hopefully in the future across the street with the city lot that Don referred to, that there will be more parking there. And then of course there's a senior citizen area just beyond it. We've just kind of chopped up the space a little bit of where tenants might exist. We had one concept where a craft beer and wine bar sits in the middle with all of the other restaurants and retail around the exterior. And TJ brought up some strategic ideas of bar placement. You kind of need more visibility, so we're still in the design process of where the tenants might specifically be located. And we've also played with the idea of improving a tenant location for one anchor restaurant. So for example, if it was Lindsay at Backdoor Bistro, we would go ahead and just totally do it for her so that she's in and anchored, and then that kind of attracts the other tenants to come in there. The other money-making side of things is that we're hoping by creating this community, you get a little bit more price per square foot in rent, but it is still affordable for everybody. So the rents might range from $700 a month to $2,000 a month for each of the little spaces, which if you are an upcoming business that doesn't really have maybe the rent to afford something big yet, this would be a great place to start. These are just some renderings of what it might look like. We kind of like the idea of the barn sliding doors and the hayloft and lots of light and high ceilings and open beams and fans coming down and all that good stuff. These are just tenants that we've approached and love the concept and would love to be a part of it. I think Edward and I would like to complement what's already here. So We do have a lot of Mexican food here already, so maybe, we just lost a sushi place, so maybe a sushi would be a good idea. But at the end of the day, we want like-minded people who are really into representing who we are in Vacaville, our local produce, our local attributes in any capacity. So that's kind of the drive behind our passion project. Okay, any questions?
Timeline?
That's a great question, Dawn. We have a couple timelines. And they like move. So, sure, Dawn, go for it.
About 4 weeks ago, the City Council actually awarded the property to Shane Edwin. So what we're currently doing right now is we're going into an exclusive negotiated rights agreement with them to start developing this project. That will lead to a development agreement where the city, along with Shane Edwin, will determine what this project is actually going to look like. So they're going through our regular development and entitlement process, so we could potentially be 8 or 9 months away from an agreement, and then they will be able to announce a groundbreaking and such.
It's not really a question, Shay, this is what I like about you, because you always have ideas like this, and this is exactly what we need for downtown. It's things like these that are going to attract people to get it. Everybody goes to Napa for things like these. We can do that here. Winters has that. This is what we need. That's why I thought it was great. Maybe name it divisions. I don't know, but something like that is outstanding.
Thank you, Louie.
Again, what is the location of this?
Dobbins and Monte Vista, where sometimes you'll see a Christmas tree lot up seasonally for sale. It's just a vacant lot right now.
The zoning on this, does it constrict certain businesses from going in there or not?
I don't think so, as long as you're food, commercial, retail.
Alcohol.
Well, so this is a ABC question. I don't understand how alcohol licenses work, and it's part of my homework that I'm working on right now, but TJ did some reconnaissance work for me with Oxbow in Napa, and they each sell their own liquor at each of the stores, but I think there's a rule that if you have one liquor license per address, so at Oxbow they gave each of the stalls different addresses. So I'm kind of thinking there's got to be a way to do it. Let's figure it out.
I had a request, Shay, posh place, so we didn't have. Can I make a request that some areas be pet friendly?
That some of what?
Some of the areas could be pet friendly.
Oh yeah, so the pet dog thing, pet kid thing. I mean, this is completely selfish. I just want a place where I can bring my children and maybe have a glass of beer and let them roam around a little bit, and then tie up the dog on the side. I don't know. Yes, in Shay's dream world, absolutely. Sweetheart, we'll figure it out. Shay's Dreamland. We're not calling it the ranch, we're calling it Shay's Dreamland. Awesome. Any other questions? Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you, Shay. We're doing great on time. I was hoping that we'd be able to finish this in 90 minutes, and looks like we will. Last but certainly not least, we have Stuart Rickard here from Bay Area Urban Development. Stuart, his development company was awarded the property on East Main District that you all know as the Opportunity Hill sites. Stuart's company will be developing those sites, and today he has brought with him the most recent development plans for the project. So without any further ado, Stuart Rickard.
Thank you. It's great to be here. While we're waiting for the video to come up, since I don't know, I know a few of the faces out there. How many of you are property owners in the downtown? And how many of you are merchants in the downtown? Got it. And, sorry, merchants again, okay. And how many are both? And how many are neither? Okay. All right. How's it going, Adam? Okay. Well, so have any of you seen a presentation about the East Main project before?
About the what? I don't think your mic's working.
Hello? No? Hold it closer. Okay. So has anyone seen a presentation regarding this project before? Okay, all right. We've got some news as well. I can't move around, I might as well put this back. All right. So the project's called the East Main Redevelopment, and it's a mixed-use project. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the sites. So, this is Merchant Street coming in here, East Main, Depot Street, Mason, Catherine. One of the really nice things about this site is the Eulatis Creek going through so close by, and Andrews Park and all the greenery that's so close to the site. This is also a site plan. It's showing the location of the buildings on the sites. And we'll look at, we'll talk about each site separately. So this one's called Parcel 1. This is East Main here and Wilson Street here. We've got an 8,000 square foot new retail building going in at the corner. And we envision this being a tall building that is maybe almost as tall as this space on the inside. And we have a tenant who's got a lot of interest. That's a coffee vendor in town who'd like to open a cafe there, as well as possibly a cake and pastry place inside there as well. Behind the retail are 25 townhomes that are here. These are 2- and 3-story townhomes, anywhere from about 1,450 square feet up to 1,800 square feet each. Passing through the site is a paseo. So this is basically just a walkway that goes through the site. These homes right here have porches that face the paseo, and so do these. There's a grade differential on the site. So this is Catherine is perhaps 10 or 12 feet above East Main, so there are steps or ramps in here. This gives an indication of the style of the townhomes. This is a project in Seattle that we're using as inspiration for this project. And we reviewed several different images of this project with the realtors, and this was their favorite, which happened to be our favorite too, so it seems to be one that people like. That's an entry. Here's an interior. Another interior. Bathroom. We do want to have separate showers and tubs. That's the backyard, the back door. This is the next site. So this is Catherine here and Wilson. And on this, we have 24 townhomes. So the Paseo from Site 1 lines up with this and then passes through to Mason Street. This site has great visibility onto Mason. So we could see some of these sites right here being live-work, where you get a blade sign. Unfortunately, you can't park right here on the street. There's no parallel parking on Mason, but there's street parking here, and there will be some shared parking in the for visitors inside the site. That's a kind of a vision of what that massing looks like. And then this is the third site here. So this is McClellan. This is School Street. At the terminus of School Street, there's a public plaza that connects also to a Paseo that goes through to Depot Street. We're still working on how exactly this connects to some further destination, but the idea is there's a path through the site. As you can see, there's some interior commercial parking for, this is a retail building that may be mixed use, but we're starting to go more in the direction of single-use buildings for our commercial buildings because, well, basically, we've done, this is a good time to be a contractor. Construction costs are coming in really high for this project, so we're thinking these may also be single-use buildings. We haven't determined that yet. And then we have 36 townhomes behind. And it's, they're, again, similar to the other ones that I showed you on Site 1, where it's 2 and 3 stories, 1,400 to 1,800 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, and 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath also. We have a tenant for this site right here who's very interested. It's a tap room. They would have an outdoor seating area here and here. This is the site right here of archaeological resources, so we are not building over that site, and there will be native planting here, and this will be an open gathering area for people, both within the project, the residents, as well as visitors to the commercial space. And I've got a couple of images of this. So this gives you an idea of the kind of architecture we're considering for the commercial space, and that's the residential behind. And here's another one showing sort of a ground level view. And so here's this public plaza area that's at the end of School Street, and then there would be a similar kind of space over here. And then this is the tap room with activity spilling out onto those spaces. Because it's residences behind, we'd have the tap room open till 10 p.m. outside, and then 11 p.m. on the inside. And then this space here is currently vacant, and we're looking for tenants for that. And that's the presentation, so be happy to take any questions.
So I'm very interested in your live-work concept. I had a client that was trying to do a live-work concept behind the Lucky Center over on Alamo near Peabody. And at a recent council meeting, the council was not happy with the planning staff's wording on live-work. I haven't seen any more. Are you coming to any kind of agreement with our planning staff over the live-work concept?
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Sure. So we, although Stuart just said that what we've done with our city ordinances, we're actually calling machines collections. So for all the realtors and investors in the room, what we heard during this whole process is if you have to live in the unit and work in the unit, no one is interested in that as an investment opportunity or even as a potential business for themselves. by using the terminology flexion and creating an ordinance for flexions, now allows you, say, for example, Shay purchases one of the units. I live in the live part, and Tom's business is in the work part. That this ordinance will allow that, so it makes it more of an investment opportunity as opposed to traditional live work base says, if you buy it, you have to live in it and you also have to work in it. So although we're using the word live work, really our ordinance allows it as a flexion.
Has the ordinance actually been passed yet?
Has not been passed.
Right, sorry for the terminology there, but the flexibility is key.
You said that was a tap room. To me, a tap room is a craft beer hall or something. What is your definition of a tap room?
So the tenant is a brewery, so they'll have, they won't be doing they won't be creating beer there, but they'll have a selection of their own beers and some other beers from other brewers, as well as some food, but kind of light food, because that's required by their licensing.
So what is the time frame on this thing?
So we're planning to submit our formal planning application at the end of July, and we're anticipating, I think, 6 to 9 months entitlement, and then construction would occur probably, you know, middle of next year or earlier.
For all the units, there's the word parking again. How much parking is allowed? I know the criteria generally is either a car and a half or 1 3/4 per unit. Cars coming full, so then they're going to start adding up the spillover. Is there going to be ample parking? And then a couple other questions.
Okay, so each of the townhomes, the way we've designed them, there's actually parking for 2 cars in each one of them. Okay, there's additional, so for the commercial, there's some additional parking here and on the street on McClellan for this building. There's a lot of street parking here, and there's actually quite a bit of street parking for the commercial here and here, as well as along here.
And as far as the units, what's slated as far as affordable housing? Is there affordable housing, or is this just going to be regular condos?
Yeah, this is all market rate housing.
Yes, what are the towns that you built this kind of development that we can go with?
So I've done 2 projects that are completed in Emeryville. They're a different, one is a 36-unit podium project. So it's more of a standard condo flat type of development. Pardon? Okay. So you can look at that one if you want. There's a retail building across the street from that.
Because the picture you showed in Seattle was great, and I was just wondering how close will this be to what you're showing us in Seattle?
You're asking whether we can actually do a design that looks like that?
Yeah.
Well.
Cost-wise.
Oh, cost-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, and
Does someone have a recorder? Can we do that? Okay. No, that'd be great. We can do it.
Yeah, sure.
Stuart, do you want to share with us a little bit with like some of these images and our meeting at the Sonoma County Association of Realtors? What you uncovered there?
Well, it was a good opportunity to ask the realtors what they thought the market was like and whether there would be demand for this kind of unit, because most of the builders are building single-family detached homes in this area. And the conclusion we came to is that there are some first-time home buyers who are interested in this. There are some move down folks, but there's also a market segment of people who actually would prefer to be in a more compact, more walkable location. So we think that there's several sources of demand, and we're on our financing side, we'll have to convince lenders and so on that there's a market for this, but that can be shown by showing that it's working in Davis, it's working in Fairfield also. So I think it's pretty clear, and we'll be able to convince them.
I have a couple of things. The retail on Mason Street, there's no parking there?
Yeah.
Because you know, it creates a problem, because when you know how people are, they're gonna stop and drop somebody off. There's gonna be and Mason Street's high traffic now. And to me, we have a problem here on the side of the Opera House, because they didn't put a drop-off spot. People stop there and let people off. And when people come around the corner here, it's a traffic jam and very dangerous.
Right.
So that would be something you really should look out. I know, like in Sassoon, they did little indentations into the housing area where you could park and drop people off. My other thing is, the parking per unit is 2.
Correct.
I own a duplex since 1985 on First Street. Each spot has a single driveway with a garage or a carport. And when you rent those units out to 2 people, 2 couples, there's 3 and 4 cars. So our street is very full all the time. And now that the city uses the grade school playgrounds for baseball, all those people come down and park 2 cars down here, so there's never enough parking for the people that live there. That would be, to me, that would be a problem, only having 2 parking spots per unit.
So you're saying in a duplex you have 4 cars demand?
Well, some of the units, they all have single driveways with a garage or a carport. Most people, the garage is never open. So, and if you rent it out to 2 people or 3 people, there's 2 or 3 cars, so they never have enough to park. So I would think, because that's going to be a high rent area, because people are going to want to rent those. Because I can't imagine anybody. I mean, there'll be some people who want to buy there and live there, but it is a problem with parking. And then when you have the events at the park, we have 10,000 people come down, people park wherever they want. And if you have open parking in there, there are going to be people going in there and park to go to the events.
Yeah. Well, I think most people will not have 3 cars with their unit, and there's probably a balance of people who have 1 car with a unit with those that have 3. So, but then your other question was about this. I think even having a pocket there for some people to pull in would also be dangerous. The trap, because there's a hump in the road here too. Not only are people going fast and they're turning, but there's a hump in the road, so the visibility is kind of bad. So I think we sort of need to extra red stripe or something this, and have extra signs to say, do not park here because it's too dangerous.
The red stripes out here, they park there.
Yeah.
You gotta know people, that's all it is. You know, people don't go by that. Especially when we have an event, they park anywhere.
Yes.
Mine's kind of a 4-part question, but they're short. So first is, what is the price point going to be on the sale of your units?
We haven't decided yet.
Next is going to be, is the developer going to hold some back for rental?
No.
Next is, within the restrictions of the areas, the CCNRs, et cetera, will condo owners be allowed to rent out, and will there be a restriction on the cap of the number of units they're going to be able to
Probably.
Is the city going to have a say in capping that so that certain units cannot be rented at below market levels? Subsidized housing.
It's all market rate.
Until such time as you open market, all these guys can buy them, and everybody can rent them out willy-nilly, it becomes subsidized housing quite fast. That was just a question the city should consider to maintain value. And then lastly, do you have to make these decisions prior to taking it to financing and prior to getting permitted and prior to building?
Yes, as to financing, no as to permitting and building.
Stuart, I just wanted to ask if there's an HOA involved.
There will be an HOA. It won't be like a single building condo, but there will be an HOA because there are common improvements that need to be maintained. But let me just add real quick. Each owner will be responsible for maintaining their own building. So it won't be a common structure.
I know I'm jumping again a bit because this is so early, but as far as parking, we always come back to that. San Francisco decided to restrict parking, and you had a tag in front put on your car to allow you to park in that area. I think that this is where we're going to have to move on something like this. And we may have to have regulation that the people that live there must park in their garages and not in the street. Otherwise, we will have a problem.
Okay. We can talk about that.
I can probably do this without John. I wanted to ask, these are PUDs, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. So people may not know what that is. Do you mind explaining a little bit about what it is?
Well, if I'm understanding you right, I'm thinking of what's sometimes called a PD approval, which means that essentially the city, when they look at the approval for this project, they're looking at a whole kind of zoning and land use requirement related to all of those sites that's customized to this development. Is that what you mean?
Well, I'm talking planned unit developments for the purpose, planned unit developments for the purpose of lending and the type of ownership. So most of the people who are here are thinking condos as in condos. When you're talking about HOAs, it makes a difference on a planned unit development and who cares for what. But my point about the HOA was that the HOA can help monitor the parking.
That's true, yeah.
Another quick question. We just had an issue with the townhouse over on the south side with the rains. And the property was not graded properly, and a whole bunch of units are now full of black mold. So when you put an HOA like that, and we're our own owners, and the grading is maybe weird or there's flooding, who's going to be taking care of mitigating those kinds of issues? So I'm just curious how that works with your HOA, because the other HOA just did nothing. They blamed it on the owner blamed it on the HOA, and nothing happened.
Are the units more than 10 years old?
Yes.
Okay, so there's, if it shows up in the first 10 years, there's the latent defect liability back to the builder. The state or the lawmakers figured that anything after that is on the owner, so that's how that works.
Now, are you contractually working on the 3 phases that the city is basically locked you in on? Have you been in talks about the park across the street, the creek rather? There's nothing in discussion yet. Are you in discussions with them developing that as well?
The park across the street?
Well, this is one thing that I really want to see happen, and it's just me talking, but we all go to Davis and Winters for restaurants, and why can't we do something? This is something I've addressed with Jeremy. Use the creek as our restaurant world. Do something there where we can be proud of, have our outdoor seating and everything, and I'm looking and talking and things like that. So this is what we need here, is something like that. It's going to be great having all the condos or whatever type of housing you want. That's going to bring a lot of people to come downtown and will benefit a lot of us. But we need something that's going to keep people here to stroll and do things, and something like that's going to help a lot, because then that'll feed off with the bird products and so forth and so on. But I don't know if you're in talks with it, but if you are, please look at something like that, opening up that. Use up creek, because it can be very nice, and it could be attractive to a lot of restaurants going towards School Street and so forth.
Opening up the creek, is that what you mean? Making the creek an amenity?
Correct.
Okay, well, and that's the way we feel too. And so we want to have outdoor seating here for our cafe. We've been talking to the city about how to activate this. I don't want to start, I mean, Don, you can talk about that if it's something you can talk about now. But this is definitely a place where, the energy of downtown can extend down here. And one of the things that helps that happen is the creek amenity. So we are working on that.
Stuart, if you want to go back to the slide. So the mayor and city council have spoken with us about trying to activate the creek on the East Main Street side. We're looking at possibly creating some kiosks there for pop-up restaurants and other things along that line to activate that part of the creek. But right now it's just a conversation that's actually not included in the East Main District project. But thank you, we're thinking about that as well.
Hi, I'd like to know what the addresses of the Emeryville properties were. I'd kind of like to see what they sold at when you guys were done with them and how they progressed since.
So it's at 3645 San Pablo Avenue. It's called the Adeline Place Project. Adeline Place. It's at San Pablo and MacArthur, and Adeline kind of goes through that same intersection also.
Also, if you go to the City of Vacaville's website, and I believe it's marked here, I think it is City of Vacaville /East Main. It will take you to everything that's related to this project. There is a PDF of the entire project, and at the very end of the PDF, there are some examples of the projects that Stewart's company has built all over that area.
So one of my partners on that project, his son moved into the building, and he's still living there. And he says it's a great, it has sort of a protected interior courtyard, and he says it's like a little Melrose Place there, like they have parties, and it's a really nice environment. So we are trying to do more than just create a shelter. We're trying to create community in a place where people want to be and can flourish.
On the two places like where you're gonna have the tap room and you're gonna have a restaurant on the street on East Main, those, when they apply for their alcohol license, they have to notify the residents. And if the residents protest, what happens then?
Well, they'll be applying probably before there are any residents there.
Believe me, the residents have a lot of influence after it's there too.
Yeah.
It's because they're very close, and if they're gonna be open till 11 o'clock at night, and they have loud, and they're loud, which every place around on Main Street is loud.
Yeah. So you're talking about the tap room mainly, or because you're talking
about, you're putting a restaurant on East Main or a bakery and the coffee shop that you're thinking of, I guess Journey was thinking about going over there. And they have entertainment, live music, and they serve alcohol. So that, you know, there's something to look, to know that could, you know, what do they do?
Right, so we see both of those uses being amenities to the residents where, you know, if you live here, you can walk out your door and go to the coffee shop or go to the tap room or hear some live music. And obviously we'll disclose all of that to all of our residents up front. So, you know, if the kind of place where you want to live is a quiet, solitude type of place, this is not a good choice for you.
So I'll add a little bit to that as well, Stuart. So keep in mind, everyone, that this project was really the Opportunity Hill Master Plan, correct? And everything in this project are things that community said they want to. So that type of entertainment, those type of restaurants, what we also be going to. So hopefully there shouldn't be any backlash because of the providers that are being possessed.
Well, I just don't experience it now. Plaza did that, the condos behind it, a lot every time that people want to put up. And then when you sell the place and then the new owner comes, it has to be notified all the residents within 500 feet. That's what happened. And now that California is starting, they're going to extend their hours to 4 o'clock in the morning. Some facilities are going to stay open before, because a lot of people work at night. They're at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's 5 o'clock in the evening to them. So there's going to be issues. But just thinking about what we can do about it, you know.
Yeah, your point's well taken. The closing time will be limited to 11 o'clock, and we'll keep the noise inside after 10.
Any more questions?
All right, thanks everybody.
That concludes all of our updates for this evening. Thank you everyone for coming out. Please, again, if you know that there were property owners that weren't here tonight, please get the word out to them to have them touch base with us at the city to provide an update. I would ask you all to put your hands together and please give Sandra Over a big round of applause. Sandra's always willing to help us out and open the Opera House for us. Sandra, thank you very much. We appreciate your help. And another big round of applause for Paul McGuire for coming to the rescue for our downtown property owners. It is 7:30. We actually did this in 90 minutes. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.